What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today, the live stream. Make sure you guys feel free to chuck into the chat. It is really time now to let out your frustrations. I completely understand. 14-8, we go down to the Newcastle Knights with some weather footy over at McDonald Jones Stadium. And man, like that was one of the most frustrating performances I've watched from us in a very long time. This is now becoming a normal occurrence now. 3 losses in a row, and there is actual major questions going on currently with our club and what's really happening at the moment with our team. The players are on the field. A couple of really silly decisions I thought today, which I'll go through with you guys, of where I felt like we lost this game in general. But I feel like that was our worst performance, probably, by far. There was positive moments in the Titans game overall, in my opinion. That was like, yeah, all right, I could find something in that. This one, like, man, the penalties, the errors, the boys just fell off a complete cliff. That 10-day turnaround that was supposed to be the refresher of the boys. And honestly, it looked like for some moments that the boys were out on their feet again, and it currently is. As you guys are saying, yeah, a slump. It is definitely a slump currently right now, guys. But shout out to everyone in the chat right now. 22 people watching currently. All you guys keep filtering in, all that. Jacko, good to see you here. Mel, Michael, good to see you back again, my bro. Stefan, boy, and Faulty. What's going on, my bro? What's going on? Yeah, so I'll just touch on my thoughts overall in the game. Then I'll jump over to the chat and see what your thoughts are overall. And yeah, it's definitely a tough carry. This one's a very tough carry, especially from all the promising signs to start the season, where we've come from. The club's actually still in a very good place, but our first grade squad is just not performing now. And unfortunately, this is the big area that everyone's going to be watching. Not a lot of people would be watching our junior grades or our New South Wales Cup team. That's a bit so-so at the moment still. But there's a lot going on. Our first grade squad just can't get a win under their belt. Like, they're consistently finding ways to lose a game instead of consistently finding ways to win the game. And I see you guys in the chat, guys. I'll get to you very shortly because there's a lot of things I do want to touch on. But that was one of the most, and I don't agree, that was not the same game plan that we've been running with overall. That was one of the most frustrating watches, especially when our whole game plan this year has revolved around field position and really limiting teams down their own end. Penalties have sucked us away from us, and now we start going wide way too early. We're shifting sideways way too early. Our last couple of weeks now, our last 3 weeks, I've started to see us not use our edge back rollers properly. If we're going to go through the stats here, Jacko had another sub 100 meters in that game. Well, actually, I think he only cracked maybe just 100 meters. I don't think he did. I think he only had like 70-something meters, whatever, in that game. We need to we need to make defenders really struggle to think that if Shawnee's going to go out the back or he's going to play short, or even Shawnee, just start turning people under a lot more, like get him working in the middle. Our game plan, overarching game plan, works. If we're going to play field position, 100%, kick to the corner, work a team into a corner, that would have won us the games today. But no, errors hold us away from that. Then we get ourselves behind. Then the boys start going sideways way too quickly. That's the most frustrating part. And then for me, that second half, the rain started to come really, really hard. And instead of playing the field position game, especially on our short dropout, playing from the dropouts, why do we go for short dropouts in the rain? Like, why? That couple of sets, 3 sets in a row, I'm pretty sure, we started to see our backline actually struggle to get out of our own end, which has never been a problem for us to start the season at all. Even in the games we've lost, we usually get ourselves into great field position. And I think the stats would say we still got good field position in this game, but there was a moment in this game here that the boys were on the back foot. The repeat sets started coming in for the Knights, and shout out to the Knights. I don't want to keep saying the Knights played amazing and all that, but kicking in behind, the short kicking game from Hastings got us turning behind. That's fine, right? But when we get put in that position, why do we go for a short dropout? In dry weather footy, I can understand it in a way because it's a bit like, you know what I mean? Like, you can work your way out of your back end, especially if you get the ball back and that. There was no positive that was, for me, in my opinion, that was going to come from that at all. And that, for me, was the most frustrating part. if we continue to play our game plan relies on field position. And this is why I keep saying to everyone is our game plan relies on field position. That's the way we're going to win games. Hold a team down the other end. I know our attack could at times look very predictable, very labored, but especially if we just keep playing short to our edge back rollers, keep playing to our front rollers. In this game, the game plan should have been direct. Play direct football. The amount of times we scored a try through Dylan Walker playing direct football, 2 passes in the middle of the ruck. That's where the Knights were struggling in this game. Why did we go away from that? Why did we start sitting on that, tram line and going wide? Shawnee barely used Jacko on a short ball there to really open up that right side shift later on in the game. Every time they played out the back to Chansey, and they were shifting on Chansey. If we're going to play a game plan, and this is my whole thing on it, guys, because you guys are going to be like, what do you mean, Ash? Like, what you've been saying this year, like our attack's never been a problem. For me, our attack's never been a problem if we start using our forwards. We don't have the most predictable attacking competition when Wado is starting to use our forwards, get us on the front foot, start working the middles over. That's our most damaging part of our game. Our forward pack is incredible. Tohu with short balls onto to AFB, short balls to Barnett, playing double shifts to Dylan Walker, that sort of thing. And then we can go to our right side shift, which would work if we get that middle to really bite into what we're doing. They're not biting into what we're doing on our edges. So whatever's happening there, we're playing 2-pass shift. They're just going to slide out on Jacko. They don't care about that. They know we're going to go wide because we want to go Dallin. And what frustrates me the most too is hearing the commentary team. I should just turn off the commentary and all that. But like listening to the commentary team and in moments that I just gone, well, they should have used Dal in the corner there. They should have played Dal in the corner there. No, Dal didn't have time or space in that corner. Dal was so lucky he got opportunities to even get down that corner. Most of the time they were just going, all right, Shawnee's not going to do anything. When Shawnee started running the ball, we started to look dangerous there. But we went away from that middle period of that game, and it really frustrated me. We started off absolutely horrendous, which is total opposite of what we've been doing to start the season overall. Then we had that middle block where we started to get a little bit more into the game. We started to play field position. The game was turning. And then we fall straight all the way back into just silly game plans. We're not an attacking football side. I don't care. Like, every person has come out this season and said that we're such a great attack. We're such a great attack. For me, last season, we were a good attack. We were never a great attack. We weren't in that top 4 discussion for attack in the league. This year, we're not going to be a top 4 attacking team, in my opinion. Our defense is where we win our games. But we can't, we can't overshadow from, our defense is where everything's going to be built from, especially with this game plan. That should have won us wet weather footy game in this one. That's where everything should have won us here. Penalties out our own end relieves all that pressure. And then the boys started to go away from the game plan and start shifting wide. Why? Why? But the biggest thing, guys, honestly, the biggest thing in this one for me and where I felt like we lost the game completely, because this is one of the first games, there's been multiple games, the Dragons games and even the Titans game, where all the way up to halftime, I feel like the boys can turn it over. Just after halftime, I see it all coming together. I'm like, all right, the boys will come home strong. Something will happen. This game, just after halftime, I'm pretty sure this is when the Knights started to get over the top of us, especially on we allowed penalties, getting out our own end. They had a couple of repeat sets, those double short dropouts, and I was raking my hair out going, Shawnee, the Knights have errors in them. Get the ball in that other end, try to go for a long kickoff, and trust that our forwards and our defense is going to create an error to get field position. That's the way we should win this game. We didn't create any pressure on the Knights in this game, in my opinion. Not one lick of pressure in this game. That fullback that they have, I think he's an incredible little player coming up, right? But Armstrong showed pretty early on in this game he had errors in his game, especially coming out of their back end. Keep them down their own end. I know, defensively we were good today on our line, right? 100%. But, we need to build pressure down their end. That's going to get us to turn balls over, and then we start attacking through the middle. My whole thing on the attack at the moment is when we go right, it's not that we're playing predictable through the right. It's more of the fact that we're going sideways too much. Shawnee's relying too much on going sideways instead of playing direct. Why are we playing so sideways, especially chasing our own tails? Play short, play to forward, play these boys that have been starting the season so well. And the last, as I said, the only correlation I've got for us the last 3 weeks is all our edge back rollers haven't had, I don't think they've had a game over 100 meters especially attacking those edges through the last couple of weeks. I may be wrong there. Maybe the Titans game, I could be off there. But the Dragons game especially, we didn't use our edge back rollers at all in that game. And that's where our attack looks predictable. We got to start using our edge back rollers and trusting in these boys. These boys are going to get us over the top of things. Like Jackson Ford switching edges. I was okay with that. If Shawnee's going to use him. We didn't use him. We didn't use him enough. There was no point there where we used him enough. Jacko ended up going hunting for the ball. Yeah, Barnett was good on the edge, Jacko. 100%. I do agree. I thought Barnett was good. Defensively, he's amazing on the edge. And he'll lock down that edge and that. Now the whole other issue on top of that. The left side attack. And it is becoming an issue, 100%. It is starting to become a proper issue now. I felt like our team now, after watching the season, watching everything play out, we became really reliant on Metcalf coming into the season, especially his running game, especially his support play, playing out 3-on-2s and stuff. But even this game, like I feel like Shawnee's not trusting that side now to where he's now overcalling to go right no matter what now. And that's the whole thing. It's like, I don't know whether it's to blame Tamade, but then I'm seeing like moments in Tamade that we had a moment in that game where Tamade called for the ball, bang, got it, right? And then Capewell didn't know his assignment. He was running on the outside. It was like only the part of what Capewell was actually on the field for. He didn't turn under. He looked like he was wanting them to turn under, but then they kept playing an outline. Like that made no sense. RTS was on his back foot, had to try and cover from there. It's just not clicking at the moment. And that's the most frustrating part is, these games, right? I can deal with a loss to the Dragons, right? 100%. I can deal with a loss to the Dragons. I can deal with a loss to the Titans that had struggled with, winning a game. That was their first win of the season. They were desperate. Even though it was in our home and all that, 100%. But now we need to start, when that happens, it should be going, all right, boys, all right, we need to get this one. This is our biggest game no matter what this weekend coming up. We need to just, no matter what, get it over the top of them. And we went away from what works from us in this game. Like, it baffles me. It really baffles me. And I know you guys are going to be like, we went right. If you want to look the simplistic way of everything, yeah, 100%. We went right the same amount of times we went last game. But the difference is we started going right, running those 2 block lead lines, right, this last season. That was working really well. We were using our edge back rollers so much more. We had Near Corday there. Even like to start the season when we had Capewell, I felt like we used him a lot more to start the season than like later on in the season. We started to not trust him. And I don't know whether that's just come down to, Jacko's errors like earlier on in the season or Capewell's errors trying to connect with him there. But it just feels like the boys don't trust in these boys on the edge. And like 100%, like we're dealing with injuries at the moment. I completely, I'll say that 100%. Like, but I think it's got to come to a point now where it's like, these aren't excuses. Like we can't make excuses anymore because like the Knights, for me, the Knights weren't good in this game. Like I know they completed okay. I know they had moments in that. It was wet weather footy and sometimes there's a struggle in that. But the Knights gave us that many opportunities to come back into this game, especially like that little period there where we had like, short dropouts and stuff. I didn't feel like they were shifting on our edges enough. They weren't really troubling anything. They weren't really playing with anything there. The only thing that really struggled with us was more so the kicks in behind. They started to really figure out that a lot more with Chancey playing in the line and that. And that was fine. All good. So like, we're going to defend ourselves there and all that. But there was moments coming out of the back end where the Knights struggled. Like they had a moment there. They dropped the ball at the 50-meter line. We got good field position off that, 100%. Turn the boys over. We should have been trying to build pressure there. Hold them in the corner. Work away. Penalty goes. All right, the boys are on the back foot then. And then we just turn our heads down. Like, just the frustration at the moment is at an all-time high. And like, I back the boys. I'm backing the boys all the way through. I'm starting to lose that little bit of hope now that we are a top 4 team. I know a lot of people have already lost it, and that's fine. Like, 100%. I think we're making it really, really hard for ourselves now. Even though the competition is still pretty tight, like if we get a couple of wins on the trot, even though now next 2 games, Roosters, Panthers, we're not going to like, that's definitely really high odds that it's not going to happen if that makes sense. But, if we got a win in this game, we were just outside the 8. A lot of we were going to be in the 8 if a couple of the other results went our way, but there was a couple of upsets there that didn't really help us at all. 2 more wins, we're back in that 8 discussion, 100%, right? But man, like the losing these games and now making it hard for ourselves because now we got to go the Roosters, the Panthers to truly, make it back before that bye. we're really, really struggling now. Like we, as I said, I'm okay dropping a Dragons game. Like it happens in football seasons. Like, the Tigers got it over the Panthers last year. The Tigers got it over the Sharkies this year. Like teams like that can happen. It just happens, right? It happens in footy. That's fine. Dropping that game. The Titans game, we've been on a couple of game losing streak. I think even last year we were on a 3-game losing streak, but it was against actually like a little bit more tougher opposition comparatively. Like I think we had a Knights loss. Then we had, I think we had a Panthers loss in there with Magic Round and that. But like, I think the most frustrating part is seeing the teams, we look like we're growing, but then we do this. We've had a couple of injuries and it just looked like the boys just went, yeah, it's just not happening. And there's moments now where it's just really frustrating. We're not holding together as a unit and sticking to a game plan. We're not sticking to a game plan. To me, that wasn't, I'm so frustrated, guys. I'm honestly frustrated. It sucks, man. It's like, it really comes to the point now of like, what is happening? Why are the boys not following to what we need to? I know Metcalf was a big dropout, like 100%, a part of our spine. Like we had Egan out to start the season, 100%. We had, Tuapiki out for start the season. So the cohesiveness is not going to be there, right? But the things that stuck together was our forward pack mainly for the most of it. I know our middle rotation, like our bench and that didn't really come into fruition. Like we could have used these boys so much better in this game. I felt like the middle was so open for us in this game. And it multiple times, even like edge back rollers, there was gaping holes because most of the time the Knights were just shifting way early on us. We just weren't troubling them at all with our lead lines. We weren't troubling them with, playing short. We just wanted to play out the back and really, work it that way. And that doesn't work in wet weather footy. Like, oh man, it frustrates me, man. It really does frustrate me. But I hope, I needed to get that out there. We'll sit back, we'll relax, try to steady the ship a little bit. But now it's up to the boys. Like the boys need to do something now to really get positivity back at the club because like, I understand, if the bandwagon fans or whatever are going to lose their, like, positivity around the loss in the night, the Dragons game. 100%. We're going to lose it at the Titans game. All right, I'm going to stick around. All right, now we've lost 3 in a row. 2, a lot of 3 very they're not top 8 sort of sides this year. And let's be completely honest. Like, I know, like, we had the whole chat to start the season. It's like, we want to become a team that beats all the big sides when we come up against them. But even then, now we're looking at, like, we should have beat the Sharks to start the season. We should have beat, the Storm to start the season. But that's no excuse there. We had 3 games here that we could have been on a trot and everything could have started flowing. But it just feels like we've just found a way to lose these games instead of finding a way to win these games. And that's fallen away from what we got good at last year. Just getting over the top of teams, even teams like this that want to get wins against us that are, we became the hunted, right? We became like the hunter. We were the hunter, then we became the hunted, right? Towards the end of last year, we had, the Knights, the Raiders game where we nearly dropped it at the end. We had the Tigers game, we had Manly, we had the Dragons, but we were winning those games. That was the whole thing, right? And it just feels like it feels like we haven't got it together yet. And that's really, I'm really struggling to see it now, especially when I've seen it at the start of the season. We've seen good things in our squad to start the season, but it's just falling away at the moment. And overall, yeah, it's just, it's tough. It is really, really tough. Like, especially when we have a game plan there. And I know a lot of good people are really frustrated with that game plan, but we have a game plan there that works. And it's shown that it's worked more so than not, especially to start the season. But now, when all the pressure comes onto us, it just feels like we've just thrown all the stuff that really works and we kept other parts that were not the things that won us games, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it really felt like. Defense is what fell apart, the Dragons, the Titans game. To be fair, defensively, I thought we were okay in this game, but even then, I felt like we allowed the Knights out of their end way too easily. Penalties were just the biggest thing for us in this game. We gave away 9 penalties in this game, I'm pretty sure. I'm just getting the stats up now. 9 to 10 penalties in this game. We gave away 10 penalties in this game. We had a period there to start the game where we conceded 5 penalties, I'm pretty sure, within the first 20 or 30 minutes. And then to jump on top of that too, we had 8 errors on top of that. The amount of moments we're turning the ball over, we can't do that with the game plan that we're trying to run, if that makes sense. And then when everything goes behind us, we just throw everything out the water, which has never been a problem with us. You know, the best part of that Melbourne Storm game and the Sharks game and everything I saw positive out of those performances there, even though we lost, was no matter what, we didn't go away from the game plan and we were chipping away. And even though like at the end, we were always there, and those performances end up getting the wins over the Canberra Raiders and, you know, other teams that were flying high even at the start of the season there, even the Newcastle Knights with Ponga. Like, those moments were winning us games. The Rabbitohs is the big one there. Like, the Rabbitohs, we were just causing them to create errors, especially just because we played high percentage football. We want to be a high percentage football team. And then we give away penalties, we give away errors and that, and we just fall back into the old school Warriors of like, all right, let's just shift it wide and go sideways. We're not built for that anymore. We aren't. We got the players for hard work. We got the players to cover. We got the players that are supposed to be doing all the lead runs and play short and just keep on the front foot. Like, our best parts of our season has all come off the back of getting off playing front foot footy, playing through momentum through the middle, Wade Egan starting to create things out of the ruck, and then Shawnee plays off the back of that. It's not happening like that at the moment. It really isn't. A lot of our momentum that is getting clicked over, everything's starting to happen right. Instead of, you know, Wado maybe deceptive in the ruck at moments and that, he's just shifting it early to Shawnee. Shawnee, instead of using, you know, a Catewell short or using a forward short or whoever's playing on that edge back rower short, he's just going out the back straight away. Teams aren't just, they're just looking at Jacko like, yeah, all right, you're just going to be a lead run now. You know what I mean? Like, and like the stats back that up. Like our edge back rowers, I'm going to look back at our last performances here, but I know today, right? Even though Barnett played through the middle, as soon as he shifted to the edge, if he continued through the middle, I reckon he bust out about 150 like he usually does. He only just cracks the 113 mark in this game. Jackson Ford only cracked 79 meters in this game. And that was so much better than what he actually did a couple of weeks back with the Dragons. I think he only had like 20 meters in that game. Like, that's the only way we're going to end up creating space on that edge for Dallin, for the boys on the left edge. Like, if we're going to get people playing on that left side, get that left side humming, our edges have got to create more. Like, we've got to use these boys better and create space on those edges. It's just, oh, man. Oh, it's so frustrating, guys. It really is. Hold on. I'm just going to go through and really try to nail it down here. Just make sure I'm right on this, because it just feels like they're not worried about our threat short on our edges. Here we go. So the Dragons game, guys, I'm just going to pull this up. You can see the stats here, right? Jackson Ford, 32 meters. Kurt Catewell, 25 meters in that game, right? So what did we look at? We ran pretty well through the middle. We got ourselves in a good field position. These boys just not getting short ball, not creating that space on the edge, because if that edge back row on the other side or that half on the other side is not troubled by the edge back row, guess what? That half is shifting straight early, you know? Especially on our left edge, like that connection of Dylan Lucas and Tyson Gamble is actually one of their worst sides, especially for missing tackles. Lucas misses like the most tackles, one of the most tackles in that night squad. Play direct through him. Get Gamble buying inside and create the space on the outside. Like, make Gagai make the decisions on the outside for him. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we need to start doing. It just feels like we've gone away from that. It feels like we've gone away from playing direct. We want to play sideways now. We want to be an attacking team. Like, why? Like, play direct football. That's the biggest thing. Hold on, I'm going to find this. Where are we at here? I actually feel like this is going to be the opposite here. Post contacts. Where's the actual run meters? But that's really honestly, so Jacob Laban, 30 meters. Jacko Ford in that game, 130. That's fair, 100%. Jacob Laban, 30 meters in that game that's a weird one. You know what I mean? Like, if we're going to try and create space on our edges, we got to use our edge back rollers effectively. And it just feels like, you know, like I see a comment here, Loho, went sideways too much, and it stopped with CNK. Like, CNK, as soon as he got the ball, he was running directly sideways, but half the time there, right, you already saw Jacko Hastings just let off of Jacko and just go, yeah, all right, sweet, I'm sliding. Moving on the outside. Bradman Best was already in front of CNK every time. We were just so lucky with a couple of those moments where Dallin actually had a bite at the cherry because of Dallin's finishing ability. But we can't rely on those things. The things we can rely on is especially our go forward in the middle, our go forward with their edge back rollers. A lot of the best teams in the competition, the Manly Seagulls, why they look so effective is they use Olakau'atu so effectively that halfback has got to bite in. And that's the only reason why our right side should be, opening up. We need to get someone on that side that's going to be playing direct. I don't know if we just lost that effectiveness bringing Catewell in and really hoping that we're going to grow Catewell. Because at the start of the season, I thought Catewell was going to be a great buy, especially even though I believe he can run those lead lines really, really nicely, 100%. But I felt like as soon as teams started going, okay, well, he's not really going to give a threat, I'm just going to slide off. So now the whole argument is, did we need to shift Morata away from that edge, even though we lost him, last season for majority of the season, and we had players like Curran and all that fill in there, or is it just come down to Shawnee's got to start using these players more, or maybe just turning them back under? Just let these players play. I don't know, man. It's just really, really frustrating overall. And yeah, guys, yeah, just really, really frustrating, guys. But I want to jump over to the chat anyway, guys, and see what your thoughts are overall, because I completely understand, it's a really frustrating watch, and especially at the start of the season, all the hype that was around us, and it was hype. It was what it was supposed to entail, right? We had a team that should be in top 4 discussion, 100%. Coming off last year, seeing what we had, we grew from that. We got RTS in the building. We got Capewell in the building. Everything looked great, 100%. And then start the season, we had performances, amazing. Just couldn't get the wins. That's okay with me. We started getting wins. 100%. We're flying. Everything's looking really good for us at the club. And then the Manly game happened where it was our defense just took a massive hit. Obviously, we just allowed too much points on our edge. Fair call. It is what it is. We end up grinding it back and getting a result there. In my opinion, we got a result there. And then coming off the back of that, the Dragons game, we just go, all right, we just fell completely away from what usually works. And it's just turned our whole thing around at the moment. So, yeah. All right, going to switch over to you guys. Guys, I'm really, really sorry for that little bit of a rant, but I need to get through with that because hopefully you guys can piece. I know I can talk in circles a lot of times and that, and I am working on my skills and hopefully become better at that sort of stuff and that. But overall, for me, the reason why everything's not working, and it's not as simple as we're a right side reliant team. No, it's not. There's a lot of teams in this competition that are right side reliant. There's a lot of teams in this competition that are good attacking teams that attack only on one side. The Gold Coast Titans attack on their left side through Foran, Fafita, Khan Pereira if he's playing on that edge, Brian Kelly. That's it. They don't have any other threat on the other side. Tenet Boyd's only just sort of come into form against us and that, but a lot of their tries all came from that left side, right? The Manly Seagulls, they can play both sides at the moment with Luke Brooks and stuff, but a lot of their good plays come from DC playing Olakau'atu and playing that right edge. The Sharkies, last year, a couple of years back, it's just all Nico Hines down that edge, playing Nakora short, that works and that. But the problem is with us is we're not allowing teams to be like, okay, I need to worry about this option here, the edge back roller that's going to create space on the outside. We're just going to slide off that. We're going to not allow that. We just know they're going to play out wide. We just got to D up on Berry. We got to D up on Cenac. And we got to D up on Dallin on the outside. That's it. Edge back roller, not a worry anymore. And we're playing into their hands. So that's the biggest thing. Oh, appreciate you guys. I'm sorry. Punter, thoughts on Tane at 6? No way. No way. I'm not too sure if you watched our New South Wales Cup game today. The boys ended up getting a win and all that, but Tane at 6 is not the way we're going to go about things. I don't think this changes with Chanel at 6. Honestly, to me, this is a thing of the boys are starting to get cohesive with their edge back rollers and play with them more. That's for me. That's the attack problem. It felt like we fixed a little bit of our defensive problems from the last couple of weeks, but I still don't think the Knights threw a lot out of us because of the wetter footy. But overarching issue here is we're going away from our game plan. We're going away from being direct as a football side, which was our positive to start the season. To start the season, we had Metcalf play direct. We had Wade Egan tearing up the ruck. We had, CNK, RTS, all those boys playing through the middle. That's where our attacking footy comes from. That is how good of a side we are through the middle, and then we shift to our right because that options are there. Because we tee off in the middle, teams have got to get compact, and then we shift. This time, we feel like we just go through the motions of going from the middle, just because we can use these boys there. Even though we've come to a good effect here, Dylan Walker scored off a 2-pass shift that through the middle, perfect. But now we're just going like, all right, we're getting to this point, shift right, and it's not even shift right. We're not playing short. It's shift right, go straight to the edge. That's the issues. That's the biggest issue. Richie, shot my bro. 100%. Thank you. Warriors all the way. 100%. Nas, maybe Metcalf's a bigger loss than we think. I think, yeah, it's starting to look like that a lot more. I feel like, obviously Tamade had that really good game against the Rabbitohs, and it looked like it was going to work there. But then again, you could easily use that argument. It worked with the Rabbitohs. Why are we not going with that again? And it just feels like that. I don't know. We're struggling either with something's not happening where the boys aren't cohesive enough. Everything's looking very clunky. And we just, it's so frustrating. We go sideways. That's the biggest thing. Jacko here. We have glaring problems beyond errors. We have no long-range attack. We have no kicking game from dummy half. We lack real punch around our edge of the ruck. Our attack is predictable. All right, a couple of things. Long-range attack, we can't rely on long-range attack. And I believe we still have long-range attack. We had moments of that. I think we don't have the speed to finish on it at the moment. Metcalf helped with that. Our long-range attack, I don't want to be a team like the Titans. I don't want to be a team like Manly. I don't want to be those guys, right? Because if you notice with football, if we're going to be an attacking team, we're going to be very unpredictable, but we're also going to be up and down. That's just what is going to happen. The kicking option out of dummy half, there's a little bit of validity to that argument now. That is more so when we get into attacking football, like when we get into that 30, instead of the option being Shawnee's kicking, no matter what, start to rely on maybe, Tamade having a little grubber in goal, or maybe Egan out of the dummy half and using that option. I kind of is starting to come around to that a lot more than what I was before. I like the game plan of when we're within that 40 to 40, Shawnee pinning someone in a corner. Because if you've played football growing up, and if our football, good football is playing a team into the corner and making a team real predictable into a corner. They have to come out of their own end there. That's high percentage football, 100%. But when we get into attacking motions, right, now we're in the 30, that's maybe when we should start throwing up more looks of kicks in behind, repeat sets. We feel like we've lost that a lot more now. That's my thing. I don't want to look at it simply, and I think this is maybe where you're coming from, Jacko, but my whole thing is we need to be more unpredictable down our end, down into attacking position. Nothing's wrong with our attack coming out of our back end. No way. We're one of the best attacking teams with run meters. We get into good field position. Getting down the other end's a bit our easiest part of our football game right now. When we're in attacking position, that's where we struggle. So now that's a little bit of an option. And lack real punch around the edge of our ruck at the moment. And I agree with that. Our edge back rower attack at the moment is non-existent. And that's a worry. That's a big worry. It is a grinds, the middle, and yes, on kicking Ash, 100%. That's what proper attacking football, that's what good high percentage football is. Playing high percentage football. When we get down to the other end, that's when we maybe need to looking at. Tamade needs to start taking a kicking role, grubber in behind, stuff like that. We can't be looking at doing that through the back end because that just throws out what our whole game plan relies on is field position. You know what I mean? Things aren't going to happen if you're going to put a kick over the top. You're going to play 2-pass long shift. What happens if Dal drops the ball? We get ourselves in the back foot again. That's not the problem. 100%. Fine. Where we are losing games, guys, is down the opposite end of the field, trying to get it over the top of that, but then trying to hold teams in that opposite end of the field. We're giving away penalties, and then not defending our errors off the back of that. That's the biggest problem. You know, it's so hard. I feel like I hope I'm articulating it as best as I can. Like, if you, like, we can't be a side that just keeps relying on, oh, we're going to shift like 3 passes wide from our back end and that's where our attack's going to come from. No way. Our back end footy, freaking Monty gets probably about 150 a game. You know, Dallin gets about 150 a game from the back end. Like, our attack to get into field position works. It works no matter what. It's when we get down to the other end. That's the only problem there. You know what I mean? I don't know, but so frustrating. Jazzy, been saying that, Ash, my bro. 100%. It's just, so frustrating. Mel, we have repeat sets, some in 10 and can't convert them into points. That is becoming a little bit more of an issue now. And like, that's starting to become more of an issue, 100%. But like, it just feels like we want to be a high percentage football side. We can do that. But it just feels like as soon as things don't go our way, we just let everything go and then it all falls apart, which is not what we were last year. And that's the whole thing. All right, guys. So I have my rant done. that is done. But we got the bro Levon to come in here. Hopefully he can give another view to the argument as well, and we can maybe bounce off each other and really try to figure out what's really happening, or maybe bring some positivity to everything at the moment, because we are in a little bit of a rut, and that's the worst part to see out of it. So, Levon, my bro, what is your thoughts, man? What's happening? What's happening with the boys?
Hey Ash, man. Yeah, big up everyone in the chat. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks Ash for having me on, man. Look, let's get some things straight, man. I don't think you're gonna get much positivity from me tonight, brother. But I've even wrote down notes, bro. That's how bad it is.
Yeah,
I have to get my thoughts in order.
I had notes, bro, but honestly, I just threw them all out of the water. I'm just like, it's so frustrating, man. But yeah, what's your notes, man? What do you find? What are you finding right now?
It's a massive drop off, man. There's
huge.
Let's get one thing straight. We're not top 4. That's not going to happen. We'll cut that. We'll write that off right now for me. So let's get that clear. We're not a top 4. We're struggling to be top 8 right now.
Yeah.
And we have regressed. Players are not performing. I'm going to call some people out. They have to be called out at the moment. I think the first thing first. What was your call on why they moved Ford to the right and Catewell to the left?
To me, when it first happened, right, with Ford going to the right, was thinking that trying to get Laban into that role there, right? When I first saw that, it was Laban playing that left side role, and it confused me because when I watched Laban in Cup, he's usually a right side back rower, but I was like, every time he's played first grade, he's played on the left. I was like, okay, so maybe it's just easing him in to get a better role there, and Jacko seems to be the versatile hard worker that could fill in and plug a hole. That was my whole thing on it. Coming into this game, then seeing you saw it on the Instagram reels and all that sort of stuff that the boys have put out, and you started to see that Catewell was looking with the left side team, and I was like, okay, so now why are we throwing everything out of the water that we're trying to build a combination on that side with Shawnee? We've just gone, all right, no more. It's gone Jacko's way. Is there something that's happened now and between Catewell injury that we've just gone, Jacko's more of a better right side edge back rower? I haven't seen that. I don't know where that's come from.
This is what I'm talking about. Why did he do that? Now there could be 2 arguments. Maybe defensively is one I'm thinking about. Do they put their hand up and say, sorry, it's not going to work with Catewell. We're not getting enough.
Could be that too.
Protection, should we say.
Yep.
And secondly, I've never seen a guy make so much money being injured in Marata. The stock value's just gone up like nuts. Say, you know what I mean? And not to say that he comes back, but it feels as though, from what we're observing, we're missing him.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to that point. Or was it because we think that Catewell is a better left back rower than Ford is? Either way, that for me is a bit of a something's not working. We need to make a change moving forward.
I just feel like that just put us at a deficit again.
And it put us at. No, I agree with that. I'm just saying that the decision to do that right now at this part of the season, it's almost like they have said, so either Capewell's not working on the right, which I'm thinking is more that, or forward's not working on the left.
Do you know what my whole thing on that would be, bro?
Yep.
Like, to start the season, our best point attacking play was Shawnee to forward, the combination of Shawnee to forward. Maybe we were thinking that attack wasn't working with forward on the left. Maybe we could put forward on the right, attacking wise. That can open up things if Shawnee used him a lot more, because the way Jacko's like built as an edge back roller is to be used 15 times a game. Just hit him short. I know he drops his balls like left, right, and center, right? But that's his best part of his game, is his high work rate. Put him next to Shawnee, and hopefully that opens up that edge attack. But we don't use him. That's the whole thing. We didn't use him in these last couple of games. Like, as I went through with everyone else, like the Dragons game, you pointed out perfectly, our edge back rollers like combined for like 50 meters. Yeah. How does that make sense? The Titans game, Laban only had 30 run meters in that game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So and then this game, bro, Ford only had 79 run meters in that game. Didn't even crack the 100. If we're going to put him to the right, use him. Use him more.
Yep. No, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's my thought, bro. Like, maybe did we put him over there for an attacking threat too? You know what I mean? Like, what's the go there?
Either, yeah. And I agree with, could be either thing. We don't, yeah. The problem is they've said that from what it's, Capewell, for whatever reason, is not going to work on the right or is better on the left.
Yeah.
That tells me there's a sign there that Capewell isn't working. And you talked about it earlier in the stream. I was listening in.
Yep.
Not drawing enough attention. Problem is, you've given a guy a week like Ford to figure out some lines. He can't figure it out in a week.
No, that's another thing.
Oh, he's had 2 weeks, but you know what I mean? Like, he's been working that left side line for...
Channel, yep.
So we've got to give him I'll give him a bit of a break before I'll give that Capewell. But yeah, they're not getting any yardage, bro. We're not getting any yardage out of them. No. And the number I've found from watching Warriors, even Marata's numbers, if you looked at them at times, they were like 60, 70 meters. The good number is 100 for a back row, I reckon. If you 100%. Get to that 100, you've done a massive game.
Yep.
Because they are doing a lot of tackling. They are doing that. But yeah, that's the first point I had, brother. And I agree with everything. We are not even using them. We're not even using them. There's no energy at the line, you know what I mean? No one's...
It honestly feels like, bro, that with the errors that our edge back rollers have been coughing up to start the season, it's like we have a loss of trust now with them. And Shawnee just doesn't want to use them. So it's just like he wants to go sideways. He feels like his best attacking threat is not to go short with forward on that side. It's more so to go out the back with CNK every moment he can. But he does... The whole thing is that if we're going to open up that option, you're going to have to use Jacko, because the reason why an edge back roller running that line there is to bring that half in to create that center to really look inside instead of looking outside. Every time that CNK got his option on that outside, Brady was already in front of him. He never caught the step on him. Not once in that game. There was a moment there where Dal almost scored, but that was all from just Dal finding that corner. Like, how, you know what I mean?
This is the big problem. The teams are saying we're going to shade to the outside with our centers, and we're going to cover CNK, Berry, and Dallin, whatever.
Yep.
We're going to trust that our half is going to make that tackle.
Yep.
That's how much they value who we've got running at them right now.
Yep.
Which is a concern. And which is why I think Marata is like, we're crying for him to come back in.
Yeah.
And we have to give credit to Curran. Remember Curran's lines? They were always on point, hit the mark, found the space, and bursted through.
Yep.
I haven't seen that type of leg drive from Capewell.
No.
And Ford, he's a great worker, but he doesn't have the same even leg drive either.
No.
But he can score. He's done well early on. So that for me is immediately, you've nullified CNK, you've nullified Berry, you've nullified Dallin.
Yep.
And that's why Dallin's just not getting anything this year, really.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. And even when they're doing like the last play, bro, I was just so pissed off.
Oh.
because they pitched up so I knew they were going right. I was like, I was thinking, go left, please, just open it up.
Yep.
Was it on the fourth tackle? What the final kick obviously went out, and
Yeah, all that going left.
but
Yeah.
they went right again. The CNK, and there was nothing
did.
down there, bro. There was no room, and I was just like, oh my goodness,
Dude, my whole thing, bro, right, is like I don't care if we go right more times than not. No way. We got to throw up different variations on our right side look. We got to use our edge back rollers. What happened to running the double lead and using Berry on a short ball? What happened to that? We haven't seen that since, a couple of weeks ago. Was it even the Dragons game? No, it wasn't even the Dragons game. It was. Did we get that look on the Titans game? I don't even think we got that look in the Titans game.
No. I think they've. I go back to your point. They've got trust issues, bro. There's all over the park. I can see it. Next one, I'm going to call it out. Drop Tamati right now. Hear me out. He's not getting enough ball. It's either they don't trust him. Freaking Egan doesn't even look at the guy.
No, he doesn't.
Doesn't even give a guy a chance. And the way they set up, still, he's not getting anything. So for me, if you're not going to give him anything, I'll have CHT in there because I need something else. You saw the kick that he did. It was a good kick. And it was a different look. Like they were able to set their attack up from the other side, or the defensive line from the other side. We're just not even using him.
No.
And I'm not blaming him. Like, I'm just saying drop him because you guys you're not even using the guy.
Nah. No.
You know what I
might
mean?
as well run Dylan Walker there and just shore up that defense and just run that look.
Bro, just use you're not even going to use your 5'8", bro. And I'm just like, you might as well use CHT because he's got a left foot kick and you can kind of, he's got a bit more energy probably. I don't know what it is. If he's just lost, they just don't trust him, bro.
Well, the biggest thing too, like now we've got ourselves in a predicament where Chanel's out. Like we don't see him till round 13, judging by this. You know what I mean?
And I honestly, bro, I didn't even care about Chanel's utility value. I just need something from my 5'8". I need something.
Yeah.
I wanted to call him off. Hot. Who gives a F about SJ? Just forget about them for a couple plays, bro.
Yeah.
Just need something for these guys to go down and work something out. Like,
I think
there's just no variety. There's nothing happening on that side. And people are calling for Roger.
It's not going to change anything.
It's not going to change anything. He's not getting anything decent. No. And whether he's out of place, I don't know.
What's the strengths of Roger's game? Tell me what the strengths are. It's his running game.
It's his running game, bro.
So what's going to happen on that right side? All it's going to be is just him running straight. That's all it's going to be. Or him just stepping back inside. That's all it's going to be on that side. There's no use of doing that. We need someone that's like, Metcalf was good because he was starting to find himself as a playmaker a little bit, but he'll play direct. You know what I mean?
Well, Metcalf's confident too. Like he'll call for it, bro. And I don't care that Metcalf runs out sometimes. The passiveness I'm seeing from Tamati right now, I'm just like,
I think the one that like hit me with that, bro, when we started the game, we shifted left and Catwell was running outside. It looked like Tamati was going to try and call an unders ball, but obviously he didn't communicate early.
Yeah, no one did.
Ran an outline and he didn't know what he was doing. He got caught with the ball and I was like, did you just not communicate?
Yeah, he's not communicating or something's not happening. They're not talking, bro.
Are you just not talking there? And is that maybe the reason why the people aren't going his way? Is he just not talking to his edge? Because there's been moments we've seen now where I think, was it the Manly game or even last week, whatever, he got the ball. The boys are about 10 meters back. They didn't even know he was going to overcall.
Same thing. It's just communication. Like you pointed out, I thought it was more of a systems thing. They were standing too deep. But it's almost like he's getting the ball and they're not they're just not up on it, bro.
He's just not talking, bro. He's probably seeing something in the line, but he's got to talk to his boys on the outside to say what look they've got going on.
It's funny, and I'm going to use myself for an example here. And guys, I'm not a professional athlete.
Well,
but when I saw the game, I could see the game, but I only saw it for myself, and I wasn't able to communicate that to my outsides a lot of the time. So they didn't know what I was doing, but I couldn't transfer it from my head to communicate it to the outsides. So I see Tamati sometimes going in for like a short ball off of Barnett. I'm like, that's cool, but he's only thinking for what he can do. You know what I mean?
I know. But see, that would have helped earlier, bro. If you got to that earlier, right? Just play short, and build that on that side and build that cohesiveness. But he just doesn't call it for what it is.
He's not calling it, and he's not building anything. Like, He's not saying, okay, I'm going to go short. I'm going to go short with Capewell for a couple here. Then we'll start working it. He's just going through the system. Or he's going through the motions, bro.
Mm. Who
Yeah.
else you got, bro? Who else you got?
Yeah, who's on the chopping block?
Who else you got? Nah, but I agree, bro. Like, I think it's starting.
And it's
to,
not.
like,
I'm not blaming him
you're
fully.
not. No.
I'm talking about the system, and guys don't trust him. Now, if that's on him, that they don't. All good. But Egan doesn't even look at the guy. When I think he got one good one when he was on the elite line. You saw it where he used Capewell a little bit.
Yep.
RTS got on the outside a little bit, and it was good.
You look good.
Yeah, but they just freaking forget about. They just honestly, bro, they just go into this pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Now the other, sorry,
yeah.
go. No, go.
For me, overall, like, if they're gonna get that left side humming, it's got to be. It maybe isn't an issue of like, are they just not confident what Tomato can really pull out, so they're not going that side, right? And changing that 6 won't help that at any sort of way. Is Shawnee that big of a, like, you know, a caller just to be like, all right, well, if he's not going to do anything, I'm going to be the one just no matter what. Like, we are a Sean Johnson reliant team, right? That it is what it is. And there's a lot of teams in the competition that are, but it just feels like that second option there is just non-existent because the boys just don't trust it. So when it comes down to it, they're just like, oh, we'll just go right. But my whole thing was when we go right anyway, we're not throwing up different variations of the right side attack, which we were to start the season. That's what I mean. Like, our attack didn't look bad early on when we're running 2 leads or we're running a short ball. We're going to come back to that. We got to the Rabbitohs game. You keyed on it because your videos, man, absolutely amazing as always. We're keying on Jack Whiten, still trying to learn that center role. And we're like, all right, we played him short. Jacko looks like he's turned his shoulders in. No, we played wide, didn't we? We seen that.
Yeah.
And then we're like, all right, he turned his shoulders out. Okay, so next look, we're going to hit Barry on that short ball. Bang. Works. That's the variations we need. We've completely lost that. We're going sideways.
Yeah, no, we have, man. The big thing is, too, the problem, I know Willie Mason talked about this, when you have an overcentric bloody lock playing system, it can be to your detriment if you're not punching through the middle enough.
Yeah.
So what I see them happening, they get tackled right on the left side.
Yep.
They'll go back in the middle again through Tohu.
Yep.
You know, I'm talking about being on the goal line. And it's almost like teams know the pattern so well now that they get all their spacing and numbering right.
Mm.
So it's just, there's just sometimes I'm just like, they're just a bit compartmentalized too much, the system.
Yeah.
Where I just need to see Sean at first receiver sometimes, bro.
Yeah.
And just give him a ball and drop guys underneath, play at the line, set a shape. There's none of that this year. Sean's always on the back. He's always second man.
Block.
He's always in a block shape.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, and sometimes they're Tohu's holding it up.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned going wide too early. I agree with that. But there's some of them, he needs to release the pass.
Yeah.
He needs to release the ball to the outside instead of going short.
Yep.
It's just, that's some of the things where it goes back to our system in terms of, I think I valued what Webby's doing. The system I still think is a good system.
100%.
But we're just not getting guys, the energy's flat. And bro, just honestly, 5 minutes after, I was seeing guys struggle to get off the ground. I'm like,
I know.
What did you guys do? Did you guys do a freaking Kaikara jiu-jitsu session? Have you done like 5 hours of rolling before you even got on the field? I'm like,
we had a 10-week turnaround, 10-day turnaround. That's the whole thing. Is like coming into this, you would have thought that maybe we looked fresh, but it just looked like we got put on the back foot early, and our penalties, our errors, we just kept turning our heads down, and there was no energy. And Walks did as best as he could when he came on too. But even then, like, bro, it just
Walks looks like he looks a bit underdone, man.
Yeah,
it looks like he doesn't look as fit as he was.
Well, he copped a couple of knocks too, bro.
And his body isn't right, man.
He's starting to cop him.
Let's be honest.
Egan as well.
We need to start pulling some guys through from the system, man. Like we just have to. Capewell was that the second calf injury this year or something? Might have been.
Yeah, he had a calf injury early on, I'm pretty sure. And then the last one that held him out was a throat injury, but it could have possibly been a calf. It could have been smoke and mirrors. Who knows?
Egan's kind of nullified because of I think all the penalties and all these piggybacks that we're giving at the moment, we're just losing so much energy,
Yeah, we are.
and it's our own fault.
Yep.
Sometimes I think Butler's a bit pedantic, but you know what
It
I
is
mean?
though.
Like
You know what I mean?
he's,
It
he's
is.
calling penalty like every second tackle. I'm like, bro, just let them figure it out. Let
I'll
these
be
guys,
completely honest, bro. I'll be a Warriors fan. That refereeing performance for both sides in that game was horrendous. Like in
Yeah,
that first half, the amount of penalties he's called, I was just sitting back and just let the boys play football.
let
Like,
them figure it out. Let them
let them
figure out the
figure it
pace of
out.
the play the ball.
Yeah,
You know, like don't
he
have
was
to
overcalling.
flipping. You know, it's one of those refs when you're just like, you watch a game and you're just like, okay, this guy's just offside, not square. Oh, man, just shut up. Let them play football, man.
Just let him play football. You find that in every play. If you really want to go down to it, you could call about 50 penalties in a game.
Yeah.
But the best referees will let the game flow and let the boys figure it out. If they overstep their line, they do it too much, pull them up on it. Bang, 100%.
Yeah.
But from the first sets, it's just penalty. Like in
Even
the
for the
first,
night, yeah, I agree. It's for both teams. It was just a horrible
it was a horrible
officiating,
viewing.
man.
100%.
But yeah. So and those are some of my gripes with the tech. Defensively, I thought we're pretty okay on goal line. Well, I think goal line was a lot better. That first patch was kind of pretty good. We didn't leak. Like 14 points is great. You know what I
It
mean?
is.
So I thought RTS made some great tackles on his edge.
Mm.
I think he's doing a great job defensively.
Yep.
I can't be critical of him this whole season. He's done a pretty stand-up job.
100%.
But just man, our teams are out grinding us right now.
Which is not the way our game plan should
And I've
work.
said this. I said, and that's some of the problem. And I can't really say this with any official data, but this is a generalized thought. But when you're trying to be a Penrith, but you don't have the full personnel to be like in terms of you look at Penrith and they got Yo, who's just flipping Terminator. He just doesn't stop. You got all these guys. They're just relentless. Liam Martins, the Fisher Harrison, the Odas. And I think we've done really well, but I'm just seeing guys just drop off a little bit, like probably just like Tohu a little bit. Back rowers are struggling. Egan is being worked to the point where he's not effective. Like we saw it, he's getting back on fourth tackle now.
Yeah.
When we're after a defensive set, and so you've lost two potential tackles where you can get anything out of the ruck and generate. So it's just like we're at a kind of a really sticking point, man. But yeah, you go, bro. I'm just still kind of gathering my thoughts.
No, you're right, bro.
I'm not finished, people. I'm not done.
These are all great thoughts. These are all great thoughts. I think there's validity to a lot of the arguments, right? But like my whole thing is like we got players that can play that game plan effectively. Maybe there is more validity to the argument of like players like Tohu that are hanging on by a thread to play this sort of game plan. You know what I mean? There's a lot of moments where I've even been critical of Tohu. It's hard to be critical of Tohu because the numbers, what he hangs into a contest, he looks great in that. But sometimes, he's got slow moving feet, getting back into ruck. Sometimes that really hampers that middle, trying to get up and really put pressure on. Like this is not a shot at Tohu at all. Like, maybe there needs to be a little bit of a pullback on like this sort of stuff of like, if we're going to run players like this, maybe Tohu needs a little bit less minutes. Maybe we need to run a little bit more energy through the middle of that forward back. Maybe, what was your thoughts overall on the bench rotation? I'm sure you probably got a thought on that. Maybe that was in your notes because obviously Pompey got moved to the bench in this one and didn't get used in this game. What was your thoughts there?
Dumb. Man, like...
Could we use Laban in this game?
Yeah, bro. Could have used the Laban.
100%.
Kept Barnett fresh in the middle. Like, feel sorry for Barnett, bro. He's like, the last 6 weeks, the guy's been pushed around everywhere, bro. Yeah. He's just been like, he's like the teacher's pet. He'll do anything, and he shouldn't be. He should be saying to the coach, man, bro, you got to figure out. Like, honestly, we should have just trusted that Dylan Walker could cover any backline position, and he can.
100%.
What you could have done is, I thought Bunty had a good game.
Yeah.
Showing his value.
I did too.
You could have either gone Laban definitely for back row cover and impact. Or you could have gone Zion and just try. And I know Bali is probably kind of doing the Zion role, but you just saw what Zion did in terms of, we're talking about drawing attention. And I've just said I believe that he's better at drawing attention on a lead line than others, and we just needed a bit of a boost.
Yeah.
And we've just been lacking impact off the bench, like energy wise.
Yeah.
From what I've been seeing, and it's just like, why do you carry Pompey? I have no idea. You could use Walker at a pinch. It's a wet weather game. No one's going to be making massive breaks on the outside. Yeah, I didn't get it, bro. What was your thoughts behind?
Completely agree with you, bro. Honestly, I was stumped. As soon as I saw that, I was like, why? Like, I had enough trust in Laban to fill out that position effectively, no matter what. Like, I know, like, yeah, as you said, like, we should just trust Dylan Walker to be our cover if anything goes wrong. And even in this game, like, all our injuries have come through the middle. We haven't had too many injuries in our backline to start the season. I think we've had one game with obviously Dal, and the start of the season we had no CNK, but that was before the season, right? During in-game injuries, they've all usually come from our middle players.
Yep.
So off that data, like, I don't know why you want to carry Pompey on the bench. If you have Dylan Walker that can cover center at a pinch, like Kurt Capewell is a guy that you could push to center if you needed to, even though he got injured in this game. But let's think if Roger went down, like, push Capewell to the center. If Monty went down, push Roger to the wing, Capewell to the center. We have other boys that have got that versatility. It's like I love, this is not taking me, like, this is not us bashing Webby, because I know you feel exactly the same. This is not us bashing Webby. This is the first time we've actually got proper critiques on Webby. And this is the thing, is like, he's starting to find a thing now where he's not trusting in maybe experience on his bench, inexperience on his bench, if that makes sense. We've seen it with Zion not played in that Dragons game. Laban was, he had a couple of good games there. Looked like he got some trust under Webby. Then it was a weird decision to bring Pompey into this one. It made no sense to me.
Made no sense to me. No, I don't even know what he's...
That was silly. Like, I would have loved to see Laban run out in this game. Not in hindsight, more so of like, Capewell went down, we could have used them on the edge. Like, even then, I don't think it would have changed the game or anything like that, right? Like, maybe it could have, maybe it couldn't have, right? But just as a bench outlook, like, then you have an opportunity, if no one went down, maybe Tohu gets a little bit of a rest. You could put Laban through the middle. You could put, another player through the middle. You got a rotation there. Pompey barely got used in this game. He didn't get used. 0 minutes. That could have been an extra rotation for Tohu to freshen up his legs for next week. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and he's just put even more pressure on this Roosters game. Like,
yeah,
frick, if it's a 50-0, bro, it's just going to go into... And like, again, he's played a fine... I honestly feel like he's played a fine line since, these injuries have started to happen, and it's like guys are already burnt.
Yeah.
Which tells you just something wrong is happening. And he's got to make some calls, bro, like on these guys like Zion and Laban. They need to freshen up, man. Like, it just looks like a team out of ideas. It looks like a team that just needs to freshen up. Like, and I know they had 10 days to sort that out, and that's why it scares me. And I've said it in my reviews and everything. I said they've had 10 days. Webby said the boys were laughing, they're having a good time.
Shawnee was in the presser before the game. He was laughing, saying it was good to have time off, like all that sort of stuff. Well, we need to see it on the football field.
You told us that you said you're happy, everyone's good to go.
Yep.
And you go put a thing. I think you go put out this performance. You're not making top 4 this year. I'll put my house on it, even though I rent. I'll put my rent on. I'll put my lease out on right now. Okay.
I don't know if I'm the crazy guy, but I still think we have an opportunity, right? I do. Like, I understand everyone else. Like, I do. I still think this competition is really close. I still think that a couple of wins, we're back in that discussion again, and we can get a roll on. I think what hurts is we've put ourselves on the back foot now, and we've done it all season, where we have put ourselves under the blowtorch to be like, all right, now we got to stand up. Like, these next 2 weeks, we got the Roosters and the Panthers to be the team to get back into the 8 discussion. This week, with a win under our belt with the Knights, we were just being outside the 8. We could have been inside the 8 if a couple other results went our way, right? We would have been laughing again. We would have been like, all right, we're in the 8. We got a win. Now let's focus on the Roosters. We've got a loss now. We're bottom 4 currently, I think, on the ladder, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, we're just in bottom 4. We still, right, if we get a win this week, we're just outside the 8 discussion, and we get 2 wins, we're back in the 8 again. But the biggest thing is, like, what hurts the whole discussion now of me thinking that maybe we're a top 4 team is our 2 wins to do that if we put ourselves at the Roosters and the Panthers. And we go back to, like, to start the season, bro, you said that you would rather win against lose against the other team as long as we beat the best teams. These boys are going to turn up now to prove that point and to prove that if they're going to get it done this year, if they can get over the top of the Roosters and the Panthers, that's where we need it to be. But we shouldn't be put in this predicament. And that's the biggest thing why it's so frustrating as a fan base. How can we go into that game feeling confident you're going to come over the top of it? We haven't seen it.
Well, yeah, and I said, I was thinking that we were going to be this top 4 team.
Exactly.
And, we were going to beat the what was so-called easy beats at that time.
Yep.
And we were going to focus really in on these Panthers and Roosters games. Frick, but that's just flipped the coin, it's flipped its head.
Yeah.
But we can't hide from it, man. The big problem for me is I don't think we're going to see any massive improvement. Like all of a sudden the attack is going to click. Sorry, man, we've had 8 weeks. I was giving it till week 12. I'm getting close to like, okay, these things aren't working.
Yep.
I'll still give it till week 12, but you got to figure out a way. I don't know how you're going to do it based on your current form, but guys are just losing trust in each other big time.
Yep.
Freaking, I thought Adam would be the first guy to drop off.
Yep.
Because he's going to Sharks and he just quit.
He's not. He's definitely not.
You guys are true professional, man.
Lazy 168 in the wet conditions, and he looked like our focal point in that game.
He's a true professional, that guy. I've got to give him credit.
Yep.
Barnett, those two are doing really well. There's just some.
What helps what you're saying, bro, is like, because I know where you're going down, and like our whole thing, right, is our performances all the way up to even I incorporate the Manly game. I don't care what people say. Like the performance to come back from where we were in that Manly game to get it to a draw is a massive performance and should always be credited as that because a lot of teams struggle with that. Okay.
Yeah.
The games where it's like that whole discussion of like, I can lose a Dragons game. That's fair. Like at Wynn Stadium, that can happen to the best teams. 100%. That's one loss. The Titans game, I was a bit more like, we need to win this one. But if there was those little opportunities where we don't get it over the top of them because they're so desperate because they need their first win for the season. All right, 2 losses. I can try and steady the ship and try to figure out where we're at. The boys will come together in time. This is the one where it's like, we're now 3 losses in a row. And that's where it starts to be like, all right, we need to look now because it's 3 losses against not lousy opposition because every team at the moment is like finding feet against the proper teams. The Titans almost, got over the top of the Storm last night from a position. Enough, Like there's moments like that, right? It happens in a season. But also, again, this was a performance that was like, this was different. This felt like there was no energy. There was no cohesiveness. There was none of that. Even though our defense seemed okay, I don't think the Knights threw anything at us in that game to really threaten us, in my opinion. I think that if it was a dry track, if we turned up the same way, I still think that we probably conceded about 20 in this game, in my opinion.
Yep.
I honestly do. And it was just more so because of the energy, the flatness, but the stupid plays too, man. Like my biggest thing, bro, that really threw me on the edge on this one was I held out. We got points before halftime. I was like, all right, here we go. The boys starting to find their way. Maybe they're doing the whole thing of like, starting the game slow. It was a horrible start performance. I'm not taking anything away from that. But turn it on mid to late because we had been a team to start very fast early and go into a lull. I thought that was maybe a thing, right? And then the short dropout moments where we went to 2 short dropouts in wet weather footy, when everything about wet weather footy goes to our game plan and how we usually play our football, and we go short dropout twice there and put ourselves on our own try line, like that is stupid football. I know the Knights did it a little bit later on. Just stupid football. It should be all about field position, getting errors down our other end, turning them around. That's what we should have been doing. Trusting our defense, boys. Trusting our aggression over our defense. Because I bet you anything, the Panthers in that moment would have gone long and trusted Fisher Harris and all that would make the error happen instead of going short and trusting our back line would create the error and getting the ball back 10 meters out from our own line where we still have to work 90 meters to get to the other end of the field. You know what I mean? That's stupid.
Yeah. And the other, no, it is, bro. I totally agree with you. The other thing was like, I talked about, I did that video on Trbojevic, coming into the line early into the up close in the field, and you saw that Canberra scored on the exact thing I was talking about, where they caught Trbojevic in the line, they kicked him behind. And then it's surprising to see what Knights did the same to CNK.
Yeah.
And it was a great tactic. It was a really good tactic. The first one they did it and they got him touch and goal.
Yep.
They did it a couple of times and he did well to track back and it was a hard, there were tough catches, and where the footy, man, it was just, we just didn't do anything to generate anything based off of wet weather footy.
Yeah.
Grubbers in the in goal, contested bombs like what Dallin was doing.
Mm-hmm.
We try to play through the hands too much sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
it's like I give this example of like a team in soccer where they don't score any goals from crosses or long balls. They want to try and ticky tack everything in until you get a tap in goal.
Yeah.
It's like we're trying to score off of passing, like doing through our set play so much. Yep. We just need a kick and goal, man.
Yeah.
Get a contest, get a couple jumping,
Yep.
Even if they fail, like, the one where RTS, you got to repeat set. There's just, oh man, I just get frustrated with that we're just, we're just really, our play style we're just so fixated, or it's almost like we're fixated
on getting Dallin tries.
And I've contradicted myself by saying we need to believe in the system even more. So I don't know. I can't give anyone an answer, but it's like, do we need to dive even deeper into the system and play more? Like you're talking about, our lead runners need to be more direct. Yeah, I think it's a bit of that, but at the same time, we need to mix it up. Just
I've
got nothing.
I know that's the whole thing, bro, and that's what's the most frustrating part on this is like my whole argument on this is our game plan. Our game plan is the Warriors. It's the Panthers' game plan with a little bit of Warriors flavor.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is more of the fact of like we got everything that the Panthers usually do of try to like limit it, other than like we concede more penalties stats wise start the season we were good at not conceding penalties in that, but we concede more silly penalties that allow teams to let off the pressure and get out of their own end. But when we get into attacking position, we go into that shape look of Shawnee. Instead of playing with that edge back rower and tiring out and creating looks to happen later on, Shawnee just wants to go out the back at the moment. And that's the thing. That's the difference of what it used to be. It used to be would use Curran, would use Capewell, not even Capewell, would use Nick Gaudet, would use these boys, and like that's what would create the look later on. That's what made it look so amazing.
It's funny, bro.
We're not doing that.
Yeah. It's funny too.
Is that?
I was thinking, remember last year the wet weather footy? Which was the wet weather footy game last year?
The Roosters game and the Rabbits game.
The first one was the Sharks. Remember that?
The Sharks. Yep.
And that was how our season kind of like kicked
off. Yep.
And I saw the rain, and I saw the way we finished this year. I'm like, I think this is a sign we're done, bro. It's completely flipped its head, and the rain has come back to
to bite us in the ass. Well, where I felt that, bro, I honestly felt that in that Manly game. You know what I mean? We went down 16-0, and I was like, this looks so familiar to that Sharks game. Like, we conceded so many points, and then we started coming back. If we got the win in that game, do you reckon the boys would have had the confidence to go into next week and the week after? Or did we lose a little bit of confidence not getting over the top of Manly at home there?
Look, I got to call Webby out on this. He said, he was saying in the presses, and I've been doing, you guys, appreciate all the support on those reaction videos, guys.
Yeah, guys, amazing.
I've been enjoying doing it, and Ash is going to do a couple too when you get some time.
100%.
So we appreciate that, but Webby has said, he says, we don't need to worry too much, but if it gets to three or four losses in a row, then there's time for concern. Well, we're here now. And bro, I honestly got to say the fact that they switched forward in Capewell,
showed some
He's
pressure.
saying he's gonna have to start making some. Yeah, there's some pressure there, and now we got another loss. We got 2 potential hidings. Not saying we'll get beaten up, but the boys will have to really dig deep.
Yeah.
Who else are you going to drop? Now, I've called out Tamari, and I blame half on him and half on the system.
Yep.
Montoya is he a victim? He's kind of a guy that suits our system, but some of his. I don't think it was ultimately bad today. I mean, luckily he got the penalty for the drop ball. Otherwise, Dells isn't getting the same. I think he's making a lot of errors because he's not getting the same enjoyment that he was last year in terms of. And look, he got the finishing on that one that Ford. And my concern with this, and I'm nitpicking, but sometimes when they have like someone like Ford and who interferes with what was his name, Hastings, they're already moved on from that shape.
Yep.
So the plays, there's no way he was going to impact.
I know,
but it happens to everyone.
I know exactly what you mean.
I've had issues watching this.
On that.
I've had issues watching this throughout all the NRL games.
100%.
So it's not just being a Warriors bias, but it's like the chain has already moved on. Hastings, no matter what he was going to do, was never going to impact it.
Yep. It's a stupid fucking rule, bro.
Yeah. I've just got issues with that. But do you think the penalty try should have been a penalty try, the one to Dallin?
It's tough because by the book, I think the referee got it right, but it makes no sense because I feel like as soon as Dal ended up getting the upper hand on Greg, he went straight to a professional foul, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Tackling in the air, that's a professional foul. So if it wasn't a penalty try, right, if you're not going to give it any doubt of that, shouldn't he have been sitting in the bin? And that's my argument on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for me, it was a professional foul, and that's how it should have been looked at. So
yeah.
it wasn't more so
there was no eyes, eh?
No.
See, even if you shadow if he turned his back and had his eyes toward, it's like a foot, the American NFL.
Yeah.
They won't penalize you if you're looking for the ball.
Exactly.
But Marju's eyes fully turned and went to tackle.
He went to tackle, yeah, straight up.
And it was like definitely penalty try. Like, see, the NRL, and this is the problem I have with the NRL. They've gone so, like, remember when, like, if it was a sin, like, you've seen it, a guy should be sin bin, but if they score the try, they don't do anything to it.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it used to be they score the try, sweet, but you're still going off the field for your professional. Yep. They've stopped that completely, and I get pissed off about that because I like the old school rule was like, no, you still impeded.
Yeah.
Get off the field, and we'll take the 6 points.
100%.
Sometimes we would take 8 points. Remember that? What was the ones where they used to do the extra conversion?
Yeah, where you get the one in front of the goal too. Yeah. You done a double one. Yeah, they've
completely taken that. I mean, I miss those days, and this is part of footy where I just think it's been over policed. It's over, and they're so NRL. They're so focused on not making it an unfair contest. But it just defeats the purpose of what other teams. If you infringe and penalise, go spend 10 minutes in the bin, and if they scored the try. If it was a penalty try, it was a penalty try.
Because my whole thing on why it didn't get given as a penalty try would have been the variables of, obviously, Dal. I know Dal caught it properly in that, but to catch it, put it down, like, there's a lot of things going on there. But for me, it was definitely a professional foul because like he's impacting it to the extent that it never had an opportunity to even for Dal to finish off that play to even get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's like the proper penalty try usually comes from, like, we had one as Sam Walker, I think it was last weekend or this weekend.
Yeah.
They put a little one in behind, but Sammy still ended up getting the hand on the ball and nearly getting the try.
Yeah.
Even though he got impeded earlier on. Like, that one for me had still a little bit of variables to it. So I understand that, but at least put him in the bin for it. Like, foul.
They've stopped
They stopped that.
It's almost like they want you to score the try so they don't get sent off. And that defeats the purpose to me.
Yeah,
the try is just a bonus. The penalty was done, but anyway, that's another issue. But
it's throughout the whole league, bro. It's
throughout the whole
problem.
League. The ones where they were stripping the ball. What was the first one? Where the guy knocked the ball out of CNK's arms. That was just a blatant. There should have been a knock on. Yeah, should have been knock on to us.
Yep.
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I see everyone in the chat. Everyone in the chat talk about the penalties. I think Butler was just too pedantic for both teams.
100%.
It was just like, yeah. It was just honestly. I was honestly. I'm gonna have to take a lot of weight because I did say that this game was like, you've had your 10 days off. You're saying you're all sweet. But to not be able to do it, and honestly, like you're right, bro. The Knights threw nothing.
They didn't.
They threw nothing at us, man.
They threw nothing.
Then they just played a decent game. Yeah, they mixed it up. Sometimes they kicked behind when CNK was in the line.
Yeah, I feel like we lost this game. That's what worries me. That's what worries me more than most. For me, like last week of the Titans, I can give a strong argument that the Titans wanted it more. Like we wanted it at the end. We nearly got it at the end, but the Titans wanted it more. In this one, it didn't even look like at any point that we really wanted that game. And that's the worrying part. That's where it's like, this is what you were saying before when you're like, guys, stay patient. Because I'm on that same train. I want everyone to stay patient. It's still a long season. We'll probably look at this, like what happens, right? If we win, 6 games later on the season, go on a mad streak, get into the finals, we're going to look at this part now and go on, what were we worrying about, right? But actually, when you're looking into it, this game was a worry because the effort was really dire.
Yeah.
This was one of the first games I sat there and it was a tough watch for me. It was a really tough watch. And the penalties were bad. The errors were bad. But it just felt like we're making stupid decisions. We're putting ourselves on the back foot when we didn't have to. Where I felt confidence in the last 2 games for the Dragons and the Titans to where I've saw moments where we looked incredible to where it's like, okay, maybe it's just more of like we go for a little bit of a slump. Yep, cool. We can fix that. This is a bit more of like, okay, now we got to look more deeply into the last 2 results. Is like the boys are tailing off, and they're not tailing off like this. They're tailing off like this now.
Yeah, they're dropping. Yep.
Because this game for me, like I've not been impressed with the Knights this season in general. Even with KP there, I've just not been impressed with the Knights because of their merry-go-round. They've never been to me like a threat this season. The Titans for me to start the season, I could have seen an opportunity of them getting into the 8, stuff like that, right? This was a worry for me. This one, because we've got 3 games now, we had 2 losses. The boys should have been up for this one, and they weren't. And that's what makes it more of a worry to me. So it's a bit more of like, oh, maybe we should look a little bit deeper. So
Hey, sorry, I just wanted to put Lion Cavalry. Welcome in, Lion of Cavalry. Credit to the boys. Yeah, that's the name of the show, bro. We're not saying full credit to the boys.
Nah.
But we agree with you, bro. It's a tough one. Yep. No, but that's just the name of the show, man. Full credit to the boys, but yeah, we should probably change the title on some of these performances.
It's obviously gotten so far now from our positive. But that's the thing, it was sorry, but it is just the name of the show and all that. It's still full credit to the boys, like they turned up, but still, we got to critique the boys and be like,
full credit to the Knights. It should be called,
bro, full credit to the Knights.
Like they just, the Knights didn't even
we lost this one, bro. That's my whole
basic game plan, bro. They didn't have to do anything over. I mean, Marju was great. I thought he was good out of yards. Our back 5, bro. I'm just a little bit concerned. I think everyone's just off the boil a bit.
Well, I think the whole team, bro. That's the thing for me is like I don't even think that like making a change for Montoya is going to change anything, because when I look at players that are going to step up in that position, I don't think it's going to change anything. Even moving Rogers to the wing, I don't think that's going to change anything, because I still think our best part of our game is still coming out of the back end. Even though there's a couple of errors in our game, I still think we've seen even in the Dragons and the Titans game, we didn't have trouble getting over that advantage line, that 50-meter line. The boys did the work out of the back end incredibly well.
Yeah.
It just feels like that, because even when shit goes bad, bro, we still get into field position. We still get into those positions where it happens, but it's just like there's no cohesiveness at the moment with our spine.
Yeah. Like, I just feel like guys are playing a lot as individuals at the moment.
Shawnee in generally.
Yeah, sure.
Right now.
RTS is trying his hardest. Like, it feels like guys are trying to, see that they're obviously seeing things aren't working out, and it's almost like they're trying to, try and build the energy back up. I don't know. I'm just
lost for words.
Lost for words. I think it's definitely a team issue.
Yeah.
But Webby, bro, I think I said you're not going to change the system right now. You spent all preseason working things out, and I don't think you need to. But you probably do need to look at like, okay, you've made a change for Capewell to the left and Ford to the right. Are you going to commit to that?
Mm.
And do the guys are they ready to do that?
Yeah.
When Ford was pretty good on that left, what was his numbers today running wise?
Bro, 79 meters off 12 runs. And most of those runs I feel like came off, one off the ruck, 24 post contacts.
His numbers on the left are higher, usually.
Yep. He'd be about 150 odd, 100%.
There you go. I mean, you've made changes without,
needing to.
Considering what impact it's going to have. Look, I just think we're really... Frick, man, this is a wake-up call, bro.
It is a tough one, bro.
Because it's a tough pill to swallow because we just thought we would do... I was thinking... Oh, sick in your syndrome.
Is it a thing? It may be.
I thought it was going to touch us, bro, but it might have got us.
I think there's so many things. It's it's tough, right? Like, honestly, there is all the excuses in the world if we want to use them, right? Like, there is injury problems, 100%. There is, chop and changes, 100%. But the biggest thing is we still have a team on paper that should be just getting over the top of these sides. And that's why it's not happening. And I think the biggest thing that's really hurting us is I feel like I'll try and sum up my thoughts as the best I can, because I feel like I always go round things and maybe people pick it up so many different ways. But for me, my biggest problem with the side at the moment, I don't think the game plan's an issue. I don't think, I thought our defense was definitely an issue and all that. But the reason why you can tell that it's a team issue and it's not an individual issue, and the reason why I don't call out Monty, Dallin, players that make somewhat of errors and stuff like that, is more of the fact of, if you look at all our strike players, like Wado has moments to start the season where he was on fire. He had a player running left and right on him. That's not happening at the moment.
No, nothing's happening, bro.
You know what I mean? All our plays that are working is all out of our back end, the one off the rucks to get us into field position. Yeah. But when we get into the field position, the team is clunky. And that's the thing, now we're relying on Shawnee to go wide instead of Shawnee playing short. And that's the thing, is there's no cohesiveness on those edge back rollers. There's no cohesiveness with the spine at the moment. They're not liking Tomaide. That's why I don't think it's an individual issue. I think it's a team issue. And really, the only way you can change this is all the boys to come together and say, listen, no matter if Jacko drops 3 or 4 balls, just trust in him. No matter if someone goes down, just play that out. Play the game plan. It will happen. Things will turn. Just stick to it. Stop being the individual that is trying to go, all right, I'm going to be the one to change these things. That's always been my problem with Dallin. My whole thing on Dal, I think, he's an incredible player. The same with Monty. The problem when they get themselves into issues with errors is when they feel under pressure because they got to do something to change the game.
Yeah, that's true.
And the reason why the Panthers are so good at what they do is because they believe the team will change the game, not a one person will change the game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
At the moment, we are trying to play too much of individuals and not trusting in our team effort to change these games here. The only way you're going to change that is a little bit of energy, a little bit of spark, and something just to bring us all together. And it feels like, I don't know what it is right now, but there's positivity everywhere around the club. It just feels like this first grade squad at the moment has just lost all their energy. They've lost all that when they're putting boys out, they're having a good defensive set, tapping everyone on, everyone cheering, everyone going crazy. You know what I mean? We're losing that now. Scoring tries, we're not going fucking mental anymore. There's big positivity.
It is. Yeah, I agree with you.
That's why I think it's a team issue. It's not an individual issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're probably right there.
It's just a flat energy right now, and we need to change that. That's the biggest thing, and trust in our game plan.
I think it's even if guys aren't doing anything necessarily wrong, they need some energy. It go back to the start of the game. Guys were struggling to get up to play the ball within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What is the issue here?
I know.
There's got to be an investigation. Are you doing five? You're doing a Jackson Topini session before, of wrestling.
Yeah.
Do we need to have? Are we going to get some lawsuits coming through soon? Guys are just getting way too tired before the
honestly, bro, like
start of the game. I can't believe how tired these guys were within 5 minutes. I was thinking, hurry up and play the ball. And that's what I'm saying. Do they need fresh legs out there? Like, what was that? What is the issue? I can't figure it out, bro.
I know, and that's the whole thing. Is like the thing that helps my argument with that is like the end of the Titans game when we got energy, when we got spark that we're changing the game. How dominant were we to come home from that deficit? You know what I mean? Like the same thing of like, the Souths game when we started to get energy, it felt like the boys are all rolling on. It's like those moments in the game where the drums are beating and Chanel Chance's getting that third tackle hit up, momentum, and then off the back of that, Rogers getting the fourth tackle, momentum. This game didn't have that. That's the worrying thing for me. That's what's making me like, okay, it's now not for waiting on the season. Now we've lost the thing that should have carried us.
Yeah, we've lost it. We've lost the yardage. I don't know what the numbers are. Guys, I'm sure there'll be some things, but I remember across the board, yardage was really high.
What's surprising is we beat the Knights in run meters, post contact meters, all that sort of stuff. Line breaks we lost it.
Well, it goes back to your second point about the goal line attack.
Mm.
We've had that amount of ball, and you just can't put points on them.
Mm.
And it's happened how many times at the end of games we've had 4 or 5 sets to close the game out.
Yeah.
With the Sharks, remember the Sharks? We had that.
Yep.
We've had it with a few other teams now, and we cannot get it over the line.
We're just not creating looks, and we're trusting in just going through the motions. That's the problem.
Yeah.
We're trusting in just going sideways, going through the motions and hoping the boys individually will make it happen instead of using short ball, using deception, playing,
They haven't, honestly. Remember when they stayed, at least the last couple of weeks in the start of the season, they'd come out with a new play every week.
Mm.
And you think, I always remember the AFB try against the Raiders.
Yep.
Where they used them and they had the different tunnel ball looks.
Yep.
They had way much more variety.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what's happened since then, but it's like, and like you said, Egan's not getting anything out of the ruck where he's able to create. Like they haven't had one. Remember how devastating we've been around the ruck.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had one. We haven't had one line break from the ruck in the last 4 or 5 weeks. I talked about Wade Moses, bro. It's closed up. Their red seat's closed up. It's gone, bro.
Yeah.
The Egyptians got to us, bro. We're not getting through on the promised land anymore, bro. It's disappeared. And I don't think even teams' market defense is that elite.
No,
we're just not making those incisive cuts back in behind the ruck. We've lost some energy somewhere. I can't put my finger on it, but
yeah,
Wade's had nothing. Either he's either had nothing or he's too tired to do anything.
Maybe it's more of the look of the whole thing of Shawnee not training as much as we're hoping, and all the boys are looking at that and saying, if this doesn't happen, like it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, like I think it all comes from just playing direct football. Like this game plan wrote it for ourselves. Like the Knights are one of the worst teams, like conceding through their middle in their competition. And we did not. We scored for the middle. We had an opportunity to look at that, right?
Yeah.
We didn't go back to that. As soon as we got a sniff through the middle, we gone, all right, let's go right side shift, go wide. And it wasn't even right side shift, go short. It was right side shift, go wide and run it sideways. That's the frustrating part. Instead of going back to back on, tired forwards trying to move back in the defensive line, hit on the edges, do that.
Hey, sorry guys, I got to shoot off, but thanks, Ash, man. Thanks for everything you do.
Appreciate you, bro.
Big up the chat, man. I know it's a tough one. We go again. We move. We always move. We love the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough one. I'm going to have to dissect this, look at the tape. I mean, we've got content coming up.
Yeah. I think we pretty much spoke about all. I'm probably going to close it off too, boys. Overall, I think, lasting thoughts, bro. What's your last thoughts overall?
Yeah, man. We just I was banking on this as a fan, this game to be like, okay,
The start.
this is the start of this. There's some underlying issues, and I think it's a bit of individual for me personally, but it's also mostly team.
Yeah.
There's a loss of confidence and trust,
Yeah.
and that's a sign of when you get too many losses and you don't get a positive boost of energy. This can happen. But there's been some tactical mistakes by Webby. First time, and we've questioned him. But definitely, man. But anyway, man, I've got to shoot off. Anyway, I'll leave that up to you, Ash.
Enjoy you, my brother. Thank you so much for coming through, my man.
All good, my man. Thank you.
Later, boss. Appreciate ya. So yeah, guys, I'll pretty much just end off with my thoughts overall, and yeah, appreciate every single one of you guys coming through. Obviously, 108 people viewing currently right now, whether it's on my channel, whether it's on Wise Up TV, or it's on X currently right now. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I hope you guys were able to get it all out. I'm sorry that we weren't able to, bounce off of the chat and that. We ranted a little bit. Hopefully, you got some sort of where thoughts are at currently right now around the squad, because, I know it's a bit confusing, to start the season. Everything looked great. Everything looks, very, very peachy. We had the signing of Fisher Harris. The club really, was at an all-time high. And I think that's what makes this hurt a lot more is, not just like we were thinking the Dragons lost. Hopefully that was just one thing. The Titans loss is like, okay, we saw positives, but we also saw a lot of negatives, especially our defense. This one was like, all right, now we've lost our energy. And that's where I think me and Levon are worrying a lot more. And, that's why overall, I want to give it out to you guys. Is like, we still got to be patient. Webby should make the changes. This is the biggest time for Webby to stand up as a coach, because I think this is the biggest opportunity for Webby to stand up and show us what he's got, because the boys' energy is low right now. The boys are not trusting in their outside men, as we're hearing right now with all our thoughts overall. It's the reason why a lot of people want changes. It's the reason why everyone wants, Arciesco to the wing, or we want, all these different changes. We want a breath of fresh air as well. We want Zion's to come in. We want Laban's to come in. I think the biggest thing is reason why this is all happening is because we're losing energy. We've lost our energy now. We've lost that whole thing of we had last year where everyone was positive, upbeat. And I hope we don't lose that too much in the fan base. I hope we all stick around. Like, we've had such good things around our club in general, because I still think our club's in the most incredible place that it's ever been. I know it sucks to see our first grade squad go down the way it is, but if you think of our long-term plan, we are set up to do great things in the future. And I know all you day one fans are all stuck around, and you are going to always stick around no matter what, but keep positive vibes. Our club's in a good position overall. But now it's up to you first graders out there, because the only reason why positivity will stay around a club is if you guys turn up on the weekends and really play with your hearts out, play with your game plans, trust in each other. That's the biggest thing. I think, it's hard for a fan to say to a football player that has touched first grade and stuff like that. But the biggest thing I can see currently right now is it's just no cohesion. No one's trusting in each other, and we're trying to go around teams instead of going through teams. That's my biggest thing at the moment. And I think we can definitely improve in a lot of areas right now. And I still believe that our defense was good tonight. It was a wet weather game, and I still think the Knights didn't attack the best at all in this game. I reckon if it was a dry track, I reckon we still would have conceded some points here. So that's the only worry for me, is our energy was the biggest problem. So I hope you guys took that out of this one. But appreciate every single one of you guys again, guys. You're absolutely incredible. Everything you're doing for the channel currently right now, I think we're so close to that 1K mark. So please, share it along with your friends. Tell everyone to come through to Wise Up TV, because hopefully, we give you some great content there. And you guys can really come in every week and just have a chat with us. And hopefully we can either, make you real positive about the squad, or also try to figure out what's really happening in that. And yeah, love all you guys. You guys are absolutely incredible, and you keep this channel really beating and that. And even though the boys keep losing, we're going to keep turning up, and I hope you guys do appreciate that as well. I knew this was going to be a tough carry, as the last 2 weeks have been, but I love you guys in general, and I wouldn't, not turn up for you guys at all. I wouldn't front the camera if anything's going wrong, because I really do want to see what your thoughts are, and it rounds out my opinions overall. So thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you all. Hope you all have a great weekend. I've got a long weekend over here. I've got no work tomorrow, so I'm just going to enjoy my weekend, maybe rewatch the game, put myself through a little bit of hell, but try to enjoy the rest of the weekend here. So appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you, guys. Take it easy. Have a good night. Wise up, baby.